October 29th to order. I'll be chairing the meeting this morning as our worship is in minister meetings and will be joining us later on in the morning. So I'd like to, the City of Dawson Creek acknowledges that we are privileged to live and work on Treaty 8 territory and the traditional home of the Cree, Dunazay, Saulteaux, Sikanee, and Slavery First Nations. We value the Métis people that live and gather here. We commit to upholding and respectful relationships with the nations that have built with the land, and we acknowledge our responsibility to carry that forward today and into the future. So today we'd like to start with our delegations. First delegation, 2.1, is Art Seidel, Jerry Demian, and John Vetter, the president of the South Peace District Crime Prevention Association, in attendance regarding the proclamation to declare November 1st to 7th, 2025 as Crime Prevention Week in Dawson Creek. Right. So I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. It says, whereas Crime Prevention Week is to be held across Canada from November 1st to 7th, 2025. Whereas the Ministry of Public Safety and Solicitor General, along with crime prevention organizations across British Columbia, seek to raise public awareness of crime prevention programs, and whereas effective crime prevention relies on individuals working together in families, neighborhoods, businesses, communities, and youth groups to promote safer streets and public spaces. And whereas the Government of British Columbia encourages municipalities to foster strong, resilient communities that deter crime and to collaborate with justice and law enforcement agencies, crime prevention groups, schools, youth organizations, and businesses to increase public engagement in crime prevention initiatives. And whereas Crime Prevention Week provides an opportunity for communities through British Columbia to recognize the importance of crime prevention and to actively support and promote related programs. And now, therefore, I, Amy Kempf, Acting Mayor of the City of Dawson Creek, do hereby proclaim November 1st to 7th, 2025 as Crime Prevention Week in Dawson Creek and encourage all citizens to join me in this worthy observance. So, do any of you have any words you'd like to say?
John has it.
No pressure. You're welcome.
So this week, we're not on?
Yeah, it's mainly for the people watching on Facebook. So
Okay. So from November 1st to the 7th, the South Peace District Crime Prevention Association will be manning a booth at the Dawson Creek Co-op Mall and promoting the initiatives and programs that we have in the South Peace area and in Dawson Creek itself. And so we encourage anybody to come out, get information on the programs, and we're always looking for volunteers.
Perfect. I just wanted to say thank you as one also part of the group. Just very amazing what you guys do and the countless hours and everything to make your organization a success. So congratulations. I don't know if you want a picture, so I don't know if you want.
And I did bring the guide, like if I can just take a minute to show.
Absolutely.
So on the handout I gave to council, it shows the different initiatives that we have in the area. And so I just got to grab my little fob.
Beautiful.
So the one that we're promoting right now is our guide light. And so Councillor McDonald has our fancy light. And so this is basically a bulb that replaces your porch light. It's controlled with the fob. You leave your porch light on all the time, but you're able to control it by turning the light on and off with the fob. And then in case of an emergency where you've called 911 and you're waiting for first responders to come, what you do is you hit your little red button and it has a red flashing light. So we're promoting this right now to seniors in the rural area just rolling it out, and then we'll continue to get it going in other areas.
Amazing.
And so, like I said, you have the handout. If you guys have any questions, we're happy to answer them before we leave.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and take
So
this.
can I ask a question? Can I ask, so how does one access those then? What do you do, just get hold of one of you guys or?
Yeah, so we do have an office, Charlie, in the Chamber of Commerce
Yes,
building.
okay.
And we have a supply, I think, of about 130 of those bulbs, and we've just started to roll them out. We had a meeting out in Tom's Lake, handed a bunch out there, and then through the Society for Community Living in Dawson Creek, we attended their luncheons in the 3 community halls that they did their presentations. We were also out there and showed them and handed out some of the bulbs there as well, so.
Okay. And what's this, I think there's a typo here, I reread it. Fraud and seam prevention. Should it be
Yeah.
fraud and scam prevention?
You're exactly, yes.
Okay.
That was the little contest to see if how many people would get it.
One
know that you read it.
One of those
Still
traps
not as far.
ex-RCMP officers set just to
There
see
you
you
go.
paying attention. Okay.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you
you.
guys.
All right. Perfect. We'll move to 2.2. We have Joe Hauber and Alex Reschny, President of the South Peace Mile Zero Park Society, in attendance regarding a request for approval of the Challenge Playground and Phase 2 of the misting pad. Perfect.
I think they have to make.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, council and city staff, for being here to listen to us, and we'll try to update you on happenings at Mile Zero over the last year, including the pump track report, plus some other upcoming projects or wants. MOPS income and expenses were both down about 10% year to date. RV visitors was down about 15%, and Pioneer Village visitors was down about 20%. Pioneer Village, we did some upgrades into Sedaton Hall. We did replace 2 noisy coolers in the bar room, a donation from the Dawson Co-op, and we would like 1 more for the kitchen. We removed some of the kitchen countertops and added stainless steel rolling table. We had the cement deck poured, paid for by the city, in front of the hall between the 2 entry sidewalks, and thank you, it looks really great. It's definitely a thing for the heat of the hall in summertime that will get used. We redone the outside dance floor with new plywood and vinyl tiles, as the old floor was beyond saving, and with 1 more year would have probably had to get tore out, so we just covered it with plywood and added the tiles. We did a major repair to Mile 1 Cafe at a cost of approximately $4,000, plus 198 hours of Joe and Alex time went into it, basically to prevent the building from being unusable, as it has the only bathrooms in the village other than the office, and we had a few things fall right through the floor, so including a toilet. Sorry about that. The ceiling of the Combooth shelter got painted as it had only ever been primed. We cleaned and emptied out the Combooth, so it finally got open to the public. The last 3 buildings damaged from the hailstorm several years ago got painted this summer. We are finally done with the hailstorm painting jobs. The RV site, we replaced 2 more washing machines and the laundromat, plus 2 last year. They are all set up as tap only. So we had nobody drilling into and wrecking machines in there. We had 2 get wrecked last year. We had full spectrum line locators in to map out the electrical of about 30 to 40% of the RV park, so we could install an RV sewer. We've just completed, as of Thursday, 14 more sites, and the cost was a little less than that. It was about $25,000. We upgraded 6 sites from 30 to 50 amp and are hoping to do 11 more, not 8 like I wrote, before we can upgrade all the sites and the roads. We now will have maps for the city and mops for future use. We're hoping to do three more sites for the 50 amp this fall yet. The other 8, I just got preliminary quote this morning, and my numbers will be wrong later on. We need to and have upgraded our Wi-Fi for Sedaton Hall and the RV site this fall, cost of about $6,000. Rotary Recreation Park, we got a water line put in that started on June 23rd, finally got water to the changing room and misting pad on August the 25th. We were able to open the misting pad August the 26th and kept it open through the heat wave till the temperature dropped again. Within the first hour, I was the guy sitting down there watching. We had 24 people on the misting pad, and within 2 hours we had 43 different people on the misting pad, including a couple of bicyclers that decided they should ride through the park or through the misting pad. The old pump house got cleaned out and made usable for mops. We completed the installation of the overhead door trim, covered all the holes from the lake days where the pipes used to come out the walls, touched up the painting on the covers. Thanks to the city for making it usable. We now have all our maintenance equipment stored in it for the winter, and the power is off. So, pump tracks, we were able to open it on June the 6th, and we closed it October the 20th as we need to reseed the upper slopes in other areas that had poor growth. It's almost completed. Joe has about another few hours of seeding to do to get it done. So hopefully the grass will grow better next year. Unbelievable the use of the 3 tracks, especially the pump tracks by Young and Old, with all kinds of different wheels. And from early in the morning to late at night, I know there are some mornings when we'd go to water at 8 o'clock, there'd be people standing at the gate wanting to get in. So I'm sure we had more people that used it over the time it was open than the lake saw in its best year, and it was due to the longer season, and weather wasn't much of a factor. Thanks for making us put in that 3-meter wide walking trail. I was wrong. It is unbelievable the use that trail gets around the outside and through the middle. So the tracks project started out at $1.6 million. This included the paving of the joining the track trails and walking trail around the outside. We were able to reduce it to $1,377,300 by removing things we could do as volunteers or in kind, and things we felt we didn't need. And one was a bicycle repair station. We're talking to other places. The tools got stolen about 3 times a year, so you just buy more tools. So in the end, we paid Velo Solutions $843,000 and Parallel Projects $235,400 for a total of $1,078,400 on the income of $701,000 from grants and city loan, a saving of about $521,600 from the original estimate, or $289,900 from the $1,377,300. This was made possible by 3 major contributors. Parallel Projects in kind, advice and materials was $224,000 savings, Renco $29,000 plus all the equipment they donated, and Swamp Donkey $14,000. And the reason Renco was so high, the complete building of the pump track from start to finish, they came up twice, once to put components together and the second time to basically put it in place. They came with their clothes, basically their personal needs, and other than that, we had to supply everything every bolt, whatever that was needed or short. Mile Zero ended up paying for all the extras that they normally would have went and rented their own equipment, but they left it up to us to do so. The balance was other small in-kind and mops arranging and paying for things like the $20,000 for the hydro seeding, plus volunteer time of Joe and myself, and don't ask either one of us of the hours because we have no idea. Any questions at this time before we go into the plans going forward?
Maybe we'll just hold the questions till once you're done, if that's okay.
Okay. We're still going by our, following our 6 guiding principles: long-lasting, low maintenance cost, practical to operate, sustainable, inclusive to all ages, bringing people together, and family-oriented. This coming year, we're hoping to build a 13-plus age challenge playground and all ages wheelchair accessible flow-through misting pad. The challenge playground will cost approximately $751,500. This is with a 25% contingency fund, as we are responsible for all the site prep work and all the landscaping after completion. Found out since from insurance we don't need the chain link fencing, and all we have to do is have proper signage. The playground is 6,500 square feet. It's 45 feet by 145 feet. And like I said, the fencing won't be necessary as on that report. We just got to get signage up. The misting pad will cost approximately $709,240 with a 25% contingency fund because we're responsible for landscaping, extra cost for water plus sewer and trenching. The misting pad would be 37 by 62 feet, 2,300 square feet, and it has a 5-foot cement outer perimeter apron and would use approximately 16 cubic meters per hour when it's turned on. We did see a lot of people coming from the track to the misting pad to cool off. That is the reason for this request. We ended up putting signs up to stay off the misting pad with bikes and pets, as we had both of these happening, so had to go down, put up signs saying that they couldn't be on there because the pet thing was, our sign just said it had to be on a leash, not off the misting pad. So both projects have grants available to help with the funding. And right now, if anybody wants to come out and see it, I have put the stakes out. The skills track, or the challenge playground, way beyond what I would have thought it was when I put the stakes in the ground. And I know Joe was wanting to make sure I measured it right, but it is bigger than the 2 combined playgrounds, probably about 1.5 times that area. So the RV site, we have not found any grants available for upgrades. The upgrades to the sites and the roads would be approximately $164,000 because we have to put culverts in in front of some of the sites because of their basically don't need any more water damage every spring. So 14 more sites with the RV sewer hookups. Like I said, it's completed now, and was about $25,000. The 14 what I've got on here is actually 11 more sites changed to 50 amp. When we do it, we'll be running out of power in the power panels. So. And the 57.5 is, I just got a quote this morning for everything but trenching, and it's over $60,000. So the total is going to be wrong, but it'll be up in the 250, 270 mark. This may need to be, the upgrades to the roads and stuff may need to be done in stages before we do the upgrades. We want sewer and electrical done, so we aren't digging the sites up after upgrading is done. Thank you for the help this past 2 years, as it has been a real challenge. So now, is there any questions on any part of it?
Perfect. Thank you very much for your update. Council, do you have any questions? Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Chair. So through the chair, first of all, thank you for the apology Takes a big man to admit he was wrong. How many people do you believe was daily users at the pump track? And how many of them do you believe were from Alberta?
Good
Do you have
question.
an
I
approximate?
can tell you there was 2 different days we didn't have a BC plate out there. There was all just
Alberta.
in one stretch when I drove through there. It was all Alberta plates. I think it was 12 vehicles, and they all had Alberta plates. But my guess on average is about 3 to 4 out of every 10 are Alberta, which also tells me that 3 or 4 are from rural,
Yeah.
which I just put in my report to the regional district, and so there's about 3 or 4 from Dawson Creek. The thing is, the bikes that were coming across the uncontrolled crossing there at the highway is unbelievable. Like I'm gonna say over 50% were still local
Right.
city people.
And how many do you think that is?
I know that some days it was over 500.
Over 500.
Yeah, because they come and go. Like was times there was 25 kids waiting or going over the bike track because they were waiting to get up on the pump track. Like they'd be just standing in line waiting to trip somebody and send them off.
That's amazing.
Unbelievable. And the wheels, I can't believe how good some people are on rollerblades, skateboards, little kids with bikes that have no pedals or anything on them, how once they get going.
Doesn't hurt when they fall.
No.
Not like when we fall.
And I know there was one parent that I went to talk to, and their 4-year-old escaped because I was talking to him on the beginner's track. The kid was over on the big one. I've had enough of this.
Oh my.
But no, it was probably one of the best things we ever done out there was to put that big track in there.
Even though the misting pad was opened late, how many days was it actually open?
I think it was 16.
16 days? How many
And
days
the
do you
rest-
think we
The rest
missed?
of the summer, we didn't actually have temperatures that would have even, we had very few people even asking when it was gonna open because it would
was
have the
cool.
coolest summer probably
Yeah.
in many years, so.
Yeah.
But I know when we got the water on and we saw what the temperature was gonna do, it was all hands on deck, including myself. I just told the staff, like, we weren't gonna open it because of the lateness, but when we saw the heat wave, everybody, I think we had 5 people over there working on getting it cleaned and sanitized and taking all the plugs out from winter storage and stuff. So, no, 22 hours after they started, it was open.
You mentioned grants available for your 2 proposed builds. Where are they? What are the grants and how much do you believe they're worth?
Well, first of all, it would probably start with NDIT, but I don't have the list because I gave them to one of the other board members, but there's available from the co-op, there's I think ARC has available for playgrounds. It's unbelievable how many there is available for playgrounds and stuff, so.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm gonna say there's probably 10 grants where one would cover the other, and so the playground isn't the biggest issue. Misting pad's a little bit more
Harder.
special, but
Right. Okay. One more question. I'm sorry to my fellow council members. You mentioned it would be 16 cubic meters an hour. Is that for just the expansion or is that both sections
No,
of the
just-
misting pad?
just the expansion. The
How
other
much
one,
does the existing one use?
I'm gonna say, I think it was about a third of that, about 5.
About 21 combined?
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you both for coming in to meet with us. I appreciate the update and the amount of work you guys have done over the summer. Sorry to hear that traffic to the RV park is down, as well as Pioneer Village. Is there any sense of, is it just a matter of slow year compared to previous years, more tourism, how people are engaged, are you noticing any trends that might account for that, or do you figure it's just a one-off?
No, it just looks to me like just overall tourism was down this summer.
Okay.
All over every place.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't think it has anything to do
No.
Anything else besides the lower tourism?
Yeah. And you know, a couple of years of wildfire probably make that
A lot of little
tougher
things put
choice for
together,
people, for sure. Just curious. So with respect to the infrastructure asks in your report, do you have a total ask number you're going to be asking us to put forward to capital for consideration for the two projects?
Probably for the two projects. We're not sure what we're gonna do with the RV site. Every time I look at it, I go, this is city property, and we're doing all the upgrades to it. And I know when the sand filter failed at the lake, the city had to front that one. We're trying to squeeze it in, and that's why in my report it says we might have to do it in portions as we go.
Okay, so there's no finite ask over X amount of time? Because I'd imagine staff is going to want that as we move through the capital
Actually,
considerations for the
I
budget.
would like to meet with city council, just a closed door meeting about the whole RV site, because that is the other thing. We did lose a few this year again to Northern Lights, which we lost. I think it was 3 caravans last year up there, and I know we lost a couple again this year, just because of lack of sewer and 50 amp sites.
Okay.
But the sewer thing is, we've got that resolved. I think we're down to only 12 or 13 sites that don't have sewer now. 100% have water, and I forget the number on 50 amp sites, but we can increase it by another 11, and then we're out of power without bringing in more power, building another powerhouse, and
Yeah, that's a whole other ball of wax.
yeah.
Okay. With respect to the expansion of the misting pad, and I beg your pardon if I'm mistaken about this, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. If I recall correctly, originally we transitioned from the small splash park into the misting pad, and part of that transition was to get it off the recirculating water because of how hard it was on the infrastructure. Am I correct in that?
It was not hard on the infrastructure.
Just
it was
to maintain.
hard on the expenses. They were
Yeah.
running around $120,000-$130,000 a year to operate that thing. So 100% of our profit from the RV site was getting pumped right into that thing.
Okay. Yeah, because if I recall correctly, that was the rationale for kind of downsizing to the misting pad. So to go from a flow through to, or not, I guess, a recirculating to a flow through and then increase the flow through to grow the misting pads does seem kind of counterintuitive to me. Especially
The recirculating wasn't a whole lot less, and if you made a splash park flow through, you're looking at 210 to 240 gallons a minute. If it was a splash pad.
Yeah, if it was
That's why the misting pad, low water consumption.
Yeah. Okay. And then I guess the last question, and it's more for the sake of our finance people, because we got our first budget update at the last council meeting, and it still has the $350,000 loan listed as outstanding debt. Is that still the proper classification for it, or is there something that needs to be amended, or we need to, so there is a repayment plan for that?
Not of just yet, but I do know that I am going to sit down with our board at our next meeting and propose that we write letters to a whole bunch of oil companies. I came up with the idea of putting sponsorship on the back of all the 3 big signs that we have out there, to put the people that have supported us, put their names on the back of the board, and see if we can get some of that money back. I mean, we could stop a lot of other operations, and
Yeah, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but once again, finance, until they hear otherwise, that's on their books as debt. So if there's something else to discuss, we need some sort of formal indication of that. But I think, and I guess that's, I'm not sure if you noted, you mentioned you'd staked it out, but I haven't been down there since I think the misting pad was closed. But where would the new playground be going, as far as just trying to figure out the geography of the park?
it's west of the 2 existing playgrounds.
Okay.
and there's enough area to put walking trails or paved trails around it and in between the proposed new misting pad. Because the new misting pad, we're trying to keep it within 5 feet kind of the other misting pad. And part of it is the electrical, the trenching and all the rest of it. And also so that they're close together and can be utilized either way.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
And it would have its own control panel, so both of them would not run at the same time unless people hit the buttons on them at the same time.
Okay. Cool. I think that's it for me at the moment. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Yes, thank you. There's a lot that could be said. I think we need to chunk a few things up here. So you have a request really for necessary upgrades to the RV park, and that is really being driven by the fact that the types of RVs that people are using require higher amperage, and people are expecting, that when they're making bookings. So that's the important thing of the RV part is it provides cash flow for the rest of the operations. That's always been the model. And so if we're going to retain a fair share of the RV traffic, we need these upgrades. So that's one distinct piece here, that the sewer and the electrical needs to be done before you do the rest of the stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's one ask and needs to be discussed with staff. So you're asking that some consideration be given by council for the upcoming budget year that would enable the electrical and sewer upgrades to occur in the 26 year. Is that the correct assumption?
The sewer upgrade is already completed as of Thursday. We went ahead and did it ourselves, or we didn't. We had Big Fish come in and do it, and we just helped where we needed to help keep the costs of it down.
So what is the remaining ask then, just for clarification?
It'll be the electrical upgrade and basically the site roads upgrading and stuff, because it was built in the 70s when truck campers were as popular as pole campers, and basically a 16-footer was a big one. If you had a 22-footer or bigger, then you were like Charlie there, you'd have lots of money to spend on a camper.
So the upgrades to the sites and roads and the 50 amp.
Yeah.
So is it for the 26 budget considerations?
I don't know, like I said, we can do it in pieces, do it over 2 years, but that right now is, like if we can get the electrical upgrades done and half the north half of the RV site upgrades to the roads and stuff, that would also work.
Okay, well, I think you should outline those options and present them to staff.
Okay.
Now, the rest of the report, first of all, I think we all, as a council, are really deeply indebted to you two guys and the rest of the society for all the volunteer work. I hate to think what this pump trap would have cost if the city had done it. I know the cost for Fort St. John, and they don't have anything like we have. And I think I'm going to add another $1 million to the cost, with no disrespect, because the city wouldn't have done it; they would have been contracted out. But just know that the impact of what you guys have done, you provided a tremendous asset, and the usage speaks to the timeliness of that. This whole project just got momentum at that fundraising dinner at the George Dawson Inn when I happened to sit next to a person who had been asking for it, and I told him who to talk to at the city, and things started to roll out, and with the mile zero part. I don't think, with all due respect to the city, I don't think it would have been happened if it hadn't been for the mile zero part, because as we all know, there's many needs for capital funding. But you have presented at previous meetings a map of the proposed location for the extension to the misting pad, and also for the location of this adventure, let's call it an adventure playground. And I want you guys to know, I think you know because we do see each other, that I totally embrace the vision for this recreation area. That's how I'm looking at it. One of the things that really impressed me this summer was talking to some people that they were having a stay-home vacation because they were camped there. They were from Dawson Creek. Their kids could go have many hours on the pump track and then run into the misting pad and enjoy the new playground. So I totally embraced this vision, for sure. The issue around the funding, which Councillor Earl raised, is I'm glad he raised it. And it does raise a number of problems that I think when in the future council and whichever society is proposing something, they assess the risk and share the risk. Because this presentation that you made required a loan. You were operating on the understanding that there was going to be a lot more, if I can call it, material and other assists. But owing to a major bankruptcy, we know what happened. So there's this issue, and it does need to be resolved. But I'm a little concerned that wonderful initiatives that are net savings to the city, such as this, council, when they agree to do something, are aware and cognizant of the risks involved, because I think it was quite clear at the time that there were promises made and sometimes circumstances change and they can't materialize. But I'm glad that was put on the table by Councillor Earl. Painting. What was the issue there with insurance? Can you refresh my memory? That was hail damage. And there was a decision, and I don't know if it was the city's decision or Mile Zero Parts not to pursue the insurance, or was it pursued? I just totally confused.
Never was ensued, and basically it was the city that came and said, can we do it over 4 years and paint the total buildings instead of half buildings or 2/3 of buildings? Like some buildings were damaged on one side, some on 3 sides, and so it was, can we just do it over 4 years? Because if we put it through insurance, our premiums are going to take a hike. So it was agreed upon at that time to do it over 4 years. The only thing we didn't know was how crazy the prices changed on everything from paint to labor to, and I'm sure whoever in the city had agreed to do it that way didn't know the prices were going to basically triple.
And was that decision of the city's tied to the fact that there was a deductible?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I remember a bit about that.
With the combination of the two, between the deductible and the increase in the premiums on the insurance, it was deemed to be cheaper to spread it out over time and pay it themselves. So,
right. So, are you making any requests of the regional district to support this vision?
Well, for sure I will be. I'll be going back to Saddle Hills now that we've watched for 2 years the license plates, where they're from and stuff, so like I said, I had to give a final report to the regional district, which I basically told them about the license plates, and what I thought was probably 50% was rural people using the pump track and the misting pad. I mean, the misting pad, it was so short-lived, but I think we couldn't have timed opening it at a better time, because the rest of the summer was so cool that I don't know that it would have got a lot of use. Pretty well has to be 21 degrees, 22 degrees before people, I mean, the odd person's going for an ice bath, but it's not very many.
Now, NDIT, you got NDIT support for this pump track. So that was in fiscal year 2025.
We have our last portion, which isn't a whole lot, $40,000 or $39,500, I think, to apply for, which when I'm done with this, that's what I'm going to be sitting down to do, is to start working on the completion.
So they've kept, usually, that's quite normal with them to keep a residual. I'm just sharing that you won't be eligible for any further recreation grant for 2 years after this fiscal year from the NDIT.
Okay, didn't know that.
Right. Now then, just last comment about the cafe. I thought there was an agreement between the Historical Society and the Mile Zero Park Society concerning the maintenance of buildings that are owned by the Historical Society. So I imagine the Historical Society will be reimbursing the Mile Zero Park Society for the cost over $1,000 for the actual costs, ignoring all the hundreds of hours of volunteer labor. Have you approached the Historical Society about that, and what was their response?
Response was nothing yet, and yes, they were invoiced for it, and we're just going to wait to see, because their request, once we had already got into it, was, well, can you give us an estimate? Well, we didn't know that the sink in the kitchen had fallen clean through the floor. We didn't know the men's bath toilet was only being held up by the strapping underneath the building, that it had fallen through the floor, so big sections of floor had to be cut out and replaced. So we had no idea, and every time you start the project like that, especially on a building of that vintage, I can't give a quote. So going forward, we probably are going to have a different approach, where we get an outside contractor to give a quote, and when they get into some of them old buildings, we know with asbestos and all the rest of it, some of them buildings might never reopen.
When did you invoice the Historical Society?
Just in the last month.
Okay.
It got held up because I took a trip down east.
Okay, that's all my questions for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Another question, Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Chair. Something that triggered for me here is, in your report, there's no mention of the existing bathroom change room. Is that in need of upgrades, or what's your hope with that building? Or was that good enough moving forward for the next few years?
I am going to say that going forward, it will probably have to get replaced, because like we're going to need the outside bathrooms like we had from NORCAM this year, again next year, until that place gets replaced, because we've got one toilet in the men's side and one urinal, and in the women's side there's only two, which isn't enough for the amount of people that have been down there using the grounds. I mean, the outside toilets were getting cleaned basically every week. So it's just, if anybody's going to Whitecourt and want to stop at the Lions Campground, they have one beautiful facility for bathrooms, showers. They've got a laundromat in it, but I think it's an ADCO, but I'm not sure. But it's put up on pilings, and it would mean that we could replace that in a matter of, a week. It could be taken down, and because it's old too, it's built in the 60s, and so it's inadequate to really do what we need to do, but something we can live with for the time being, but it has to be in the books probably in the next 2 years, 3 years.
The outdoor bathrooms, were they a donation or was that an
No,
expense?
The city basically arranged to have them, when I requested it this spring, they put them out there and we've just moved where they were originally over closer to the pump track for the
Okay.
people there to use, so.
Okay.
But yeah, it'll be an ongoing thing till the facility gets replaced.
Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor McDonald. So we, if you've presented all that you have, Alex and Joe, I appreciate you coming in and updating council. We will be reviewing your delegation requests later in the agenda under Mayor's Business. So thank you very much for all your transparency and updating council so thoroughly.
Thank you.
Perfect. Have a great day.
Don't know about that.
Stay warm.
All right, we'll be varying the agenda for 2.3. We'll be reviewing that later in the agenda today. So moving on to 2025 strategic priority chart. 3.1 is the 2025 strategic priority chart. Without any agendas or any changes to that chart, we'll move on to 3.2, the strategic priority action plan staff update, February 10th, 2025, April 22nd, 2025, and August 11th, 2025. If someone would like to move that recommendation, Councillor McDonald.
There's no recommendation on that.
Oh, there is.
No, you don't need to vote on that. You can move on to item 4.
There
if
is
you'd like.
one. Okay, Councillor McDonald, there is a recommendation in the report, but I'll leave it be. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say, reviewing that again, just how nice it is to see all the green completes on the priorities list, on the strategic priorities. It just shows, the great work's being done by our very hardworking staff. And I know since August 11th, there are so many other completions on there as well. And I just wanted to point it out again, just what a great job staff's doing on the work presented from council. So a huge thank you.
Perfect. So moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Earl. Go ahead and vote.
Just for clarification, the last report that's on the strategic priorities item is for information. There's 3 of them, and they all had recommendations to receive for information as the CAO provided the strategic plan updates at that time.
Oh, apologies. I just
No
saw the
problem.
recommendations. Thank you. Do you still want us to vote on that? We're good. Moving on. Okay, moving on to item 4, late items. Does anybody have any late items? With no late items, we'll move on to number 5, new councillor business. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to report back to council and staff that we have had our first kickoff Cenotaph meeting on October 21st. Myself, Mr. McIver, and, oh my lord, I just dropped your last name. Other city staff met with the Cenotaph committee members and urban systems. The other committee members included Legion members, cadets, the Historical Society, and True Veterans. Thank you for your service, Mr. McIver. We had a wonderful meeting. A lot of great discussion about regional focus of the Cenotaph, appropriate funding for it, and true engagement planning, including if there's anybody we've missed that needs to be at the table. Great first meeting. Urban Systems had a great presentation there. And yeah, any questions? None? Wonderful.
All right, any other councillor business? Councillor Earl?
Just a note to me and Councillor McDonald, we're happy to attend the Diwali celebration at Northern Lights College on Saturday over the weekend. It was a really lovely event. Probably about 140 people in attendance at least. And I'd say the median age was late 20s, early 30s. So a lot of young people showed up from our local South Asian community, and they were very happy to share their culture with us. And I don't think either of us embarrassed ourselves. So it was a wonderful time, and we thank them for the invite.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Yes, last Friday there were 3 new inductees at the Ken Barwick Wall of Distinction, one for business, one for sport, and one professional. Appreciated seeing Councillor MacDonald and Apollonia there. I think we all agree it was a very moving tribute to those people. It really affected me, the amazement, the resilience of people, the risk takers, the contribution that people made for the economy, for the betterment of society. As you probably all know, to be on the Wall of Distinction, you must have done something that's of a national or international status. I was totally amazed that about Pat Rawson. Pat Rawson and I have known each other for quite a few years. Since my retirement as school superintendent, nothing to do with that role. And he's already on the Wall of Distinction for contribution to business. To see a person, as a result of interaction with his daughter, take on a sport at the age of 62 and become a world champion. I think he won 50-odd buckles, so many saddles, international. What was this sport? It was to do with some form of sport held at Calgary Stampede. It was roping, or was it? Anyways,
wasn't it
cutting. Yes, just incredible. And a gentleman whose mother used to be one of my secretaries, Setia. Perhaps, Kyle, would you talk about him? Because I think that was really touching what he said.
All right, Councillor MacDonald?
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. To see a wonderful member of our community take our community's values and have the ability to go to a book signing by Jane Goodall and say, listen, I am aware of a primate, an adolescent primate in Iraq that I want to save. Can you tell me how? Don't do it for me, but tell me how. And to go and accomplish that goal and continue that on helping save refugees in Afghanistan from Taliban and so much more, and leave such a lasting mark that an international figure like Jane Goodall wrote the foreword for his book, his memoir book about saving that primate. Just inspiring, truly inspiring. You're left speechless when you're at those Wall of Fame inductions to see what some of our very humble, just Peace regional locals have gone out and done with the values instilled on them in our region is just humbling.
Agreed, Councillor MacDonald. Thank you. Councillor Parslow?
The third recipient, I've gone and forgot his first name, was Patterson, started the Auction Mart. And to learn about that and its beginnings and its impact on agriculture and other business. And what also shows the sort of the nature of how things get developed in a community. You know, they used to have special events to fund many of the sports. Like one that caught my ear was ice skating, and so all these pioneers, if you like, if I can call him that, had a vision about a community and its diversity and its potential. They could have operated somewhere else, but they chose Dawson Creek. In this case, because the intersection of grain production and cattle. So it was a wonderful evening. Ovintiv did a very good job for us. They very classy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, your chair. I just only echo what Councillor MacDonald and Councillor Parslow that said about the Wall of Distinction. It's my first time to attend such event. I don't know what I'm going to, but I know there are great people inside. So yeah, I agree to the 3 people that being inducted, especially the one that worked with Jane Goodall, because I know Jane Goodall, he did a lot of great work about the apes. So yeah. And of course, just to let you know that we opened the Olympics, which is the Filipino, Canadian, everything. Everyone is welcome to our sports. I did invite everyone because I know I came from a holiday. I don't know who will come. So I will just invite you on the championship. And of course, on behalf of Mayor Darcy, we opened, we attended a new business in town, and I think Mayor Darcy will be the one to speak on that behalf. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Apollonio. We'll just move on to adoption of minutes. So 6.1, the minutes of the public meeting, October 14th, 2025 for adoption. Councillor MacDonald, seconded Councillor Sednick. We'll call that to a vote. Perfect. All in favor. Thank you. And with our worship back in, I will pass it over to him at 6.2, adoption of minutes.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. And thank you for your time chairing this morning. All right, next, 6.2, meeting of council for October 14th, 2025 for adoption. Councillor Sednick, second Councillor MacDonald. I'll call that to vote. Vote is closed and that's carried. Any business arising? No? All right, nothing under correspondence. 9 reports. 9.1, we have report number 25-162 from the Development Service Manager regarding 1029 103rd Avenue encroachment application. Councillor Parslow?
Move the report number 25-162 from the Development Services Manager via 1029 103rd Avenue encroachment application be received. Further, the Council authorise the owner of 1029 103rd Avenue to encroach 0.85 metres for the existing stairs and 1.24 metres for the proposed accessible ramp into the city-owned property along 11th Street between 103rd Avenue and the lane south to the south of 103 Avenue. And further, the encroachment be permitted for the lifetime of the building. And finally, that the owner provide and maintain liability insurance at the level required by the city.
Thank you, Councillor Parslow. Do I have a second? Councillor MacDonald? Any discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, this site, which I'm very familiar with from a past life, that's where the food bank and soups kitchens operate from, and they're used by a lot of people. And so we can't not have some wheelchair access. So I appreciate this recommendation. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? No, I just, before I call it to vote, I just wanted to thank Kevin, you and your team for dealing with this applicant. I know it's been, I know the whole team has done an amazing job to accommodate this through the process. So I just wanted to thank you. I know there's been a lot done, so thank you. I'll call this to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 9.2, we have report number 25-168 from the Utilities Manager regarding water treatment plant filters 5 and 6 remediation. Thank you, Councillor. Yeah, and media replacement. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to move the report number 25-168 from the Utilities Manager regarding water treatment plant filters 5 and 6 remediation and media replacement be received. Further, the Council award the contract for filter media replacement, vessel remediation, and under drain replacement to Anthrotech Western Incorporated, AWI, in the amount of $567,157, excluding all applicable taxes. And further, the Council authorized the reallocation of $87,589 from available water capital funds to provide $113,432 for contingency, filter media removal, consulting fees, and any applicable PST.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald.
That was
Second,
a tongue
Councillor
twister.
Kemp. Yeah. Any discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. Next, 9.3, we have report number 25-188 from the Financial Service Manager regarding 2025 tax sale results. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number 25-188 from the Financial Services Manager regarding 2025 tax sale results be received for information.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor Sudnick. Any discussion? No. I just had one question on this, just going through the report on modular homes and trailers. Like, is there much a person can do, or is there, like, have other communities faced similar situations, or is there there's just nothing we can do in the charter? Melissa?
Through your worship, for clarification, is it in regards to them being outside the tax sale process or specifically in tow? Because that there's nothing we can do about that in that, because you're talking about the land versus the trailer, so we can't include a mobile home in the tax sale.
Yeah, I guess that, and then just because of this, the amount of the outstanding, or the amount that's outstanding, and there's not a lot we can do, right?
So through your worship, yeah, and until, because Council recently went through the write-off process earlier this year, but those are for cases when the trailer has either been demolished or there's no contact with the owner, and there's a process to request for taxes to be written off that we do and have done in the past. But in this case, the mobile homeowners were in contact with all of them, 4 of the 5. They're living there, but in regards to the transfer that occurred previously from the water, that's what we do with all balances.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, I will call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, it's carried. Next, 9.4, we have report number M25-199 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding updated letter of support, Dawson Creek Revitalization Project. Councillor Kemp.
Thank you, Worship. I'll move the recommendation, the report number M25-199 from the Deputy Corporate Officer regarding updated letter of support, Dawson Creek Revitalization Project be received. Further, the Council authorized the updated letter of support for the grant application to the Growing Canadians Community Canopies Program, and further that the Council confirm the City of Dawson Creek's commitment of $47,023 in staff remuneration and $2,172 in cash to support the Dawson Creek Revitalization Project.
Thank you, Councillor Kemp. Second, Councillor Apollonio. Any discussion? Councillor Parslow.
Given the total of the cost here, how many hours of staff time is going to be required? $47,023 seems to be a very high amount of money for planting how many trees? 1,000 trees? Is that the magnitude of this project, or is it? I thought I said that just to, I could understand it if it was 1,000 odd trees, but if it's a smaller number of trees, so how was that calculated?
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Go ahead, Ryan.
Thank you, through your worship, to Councillor Parslow. I don't have the exact number of hours in front of me, but I can find that for you. So this is 6 months ago or so. We went through a FCM tree planting, growing canopies fund process, and we have received the award, and through this aspect. This is specifically for continuation of tree planting of downtown, out in, I believe it's Newbie Park, Kitchen Park, and a few other of our outlying of downtown parks. So the number of trees, it is very labor intensive in terms of the digging up, the planting, the ordering of the trees. So it's not just for labor, it is all aspects from the mulch, the digging, the tree itself, and the watering of the trees for the first little bit.
Thanks, Ryan. Councillor Parslow?
Well, I'm enthralled by your response, because when I've seen trees being planted, they're using this machine that just digs and a big hole and it's just dropped in, and then there's some spreading of soil. So how many trees are going to be planted? Maybe that would help me understand the magnitude of this.
Through your worship, Councillor Parslow, so we do not have a tree spade where the tree comes in, digs a hole like in a big spade, digs it out, puts the tree in. So we use, we're currently using the city's backhoe where we dig a hole, and then we have to prep it and go through the process of adding the appropriate dirt, the mulch, add the tree, stake it, backfill it, etc. In terms of the absolute number of trees, I don't have that right for you this moment, but I can get that to you here by lunch for you, if you like.
Through your worship, I think part of it too is talking with Ryan is the strategy that we've taken is that it's the ongoing watering and maintenance of it to ensure or give the tree the best chance. What we've found is that if you just plant it and forget it, we don't have great survival rates, but the trees that we've seen succeed in the downtown recently is because we've had a concerted effort of follow-up. You know, I don't know if it's daily or, you know, if it's every other day or whatever, but I think that's going to be some ongoing component of that in that first year to try and give it its best chance to survive. So some of those costs would be attributed to that ongoing watering as well.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Councillor Parslow?
Well, thank you, staff. Don't we use those? I mean, I can't say I've seen them in Dawson Creek, but I'm sure we're not behind other communities. But I've seen in Grand Prairie where they have recently planted trees, they've got these plastic bags, right? Do we use the same way so that watering is fairly constant but not every other day routine?
Through your worship to Councillor Parslow, we have used those in the past. We started out and have used them, depending on the tree, the location, the type of tree. Some of the bags actually, they do work, and other times we find out that the bags have been stolen or been cut and such. And so by doing as part of our daily, for lack of a better word, drive around in terms of watering the flowers and other trees that are around, we find it more effective than just leaving the green bags attached to the tree where vandalism and such is impacting.
Thank you, Ryan. Any other discussion? I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. All right, I'm just going to call a quick break. October 27th, back to order. Our next order of business is 10.1, report number 25-197 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2026 permissive tax exemption bylaw number 4618-2025 for consideration of adoption. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll move the recommendation that report number 25-197 from the Chief Financial Officer regarding 2026 permissive tax exemption bylaw number 4618-2025 be received. Further, that 2026 permissive tax exemption bylaw number 4618-2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Earl. Second, Councillor Kemp. Any discussion? No, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. I'm assuming it was carried, but it didn't. Oh. Carried, one opposed, Councillor Parslow. Next, 10.2, we have report number 25-163 from the City Planner regarding official community plan bylaw number 4620-2025 for consideration of first reading. Councillor Apollonio?
Thank you, Your Worship. That's report number 25-163 from the City Planner regarding official community plan bylaw number 4620-2025 be received. Further, that official community plan bylaw number 4620-2025 be given first reading.
Thank you, Councillor Apollonio. Second, Councillor McDonald. Any discussion? Councillor Apollonio, did you have? No? Okay. All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. All right, next order of business is 11, Mayor's Business. Mayor's updates. So I guess first, I just, the last couple of weeks have been pretty busy just, with our water situation. So I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of an update. Kevin will as well under his CAO updates. But we did extend our state of local emergency today, but we've had just to reiterate to the public that this isn't necessarily a state of emergency for today. This is for what's about to come this future into the winter. So it's not about, it's really about just being proactive to what's coming. And we needed to do this to move forward and move the process forward. And so we can allow the city team, the province to just do as much work as we can behind the scenes to just be proactive and be ready for when the situation comes that, the Kiskatna freezes off, and we are at the point where we're relying solely on our reservoirs. So I just really wanted to communicate that and get that out there. And we're continuing to do as much interviews and get as much information out there as we can to educate those. But myself, Kevin, this whole council, we're completely open to anybody that's out there that has questions, or if there's rumors or things you're hearing, please just reach out to us. We want to have those conversations, and we want to educate the best we can. So, second, I went to Tremblay School last week. I met with the grade 5, 6, and 7 classes. They're going through local governments and different level of governments through their class right now. So, honestly, it was just phenomenal to spend any time I get the chance to spend with those kids. It's just amazing. And the questions they were asking, they were asking all sorts of questions around the community, lots to do with actually water. So it was wonderful to just have that dialogue with them. And it's recharging for me too, how busy it's been lately. Just to spend the time with the youth, it reiterates what I do. It's just, really, it's amazing any chance I get that opportunity. But it's pretty neat too when you're talking with 10, 11, 12-year-old kids, the questions they ask, because it's pretty amazing, the questions, and they're real questions, and it's just great. So. Next, the Alberta municipal election was held a week ago, so I just wanted to send congratulations out to those our neighboring municipalities in Alberta, the counties, the municipalities, just congratulating them on, one, putting their names forward, but also, just congratulating them on their results. And we look forward to continuing to build those relationships with them moving forward. And we had, we've been here for 3 years and built some strong relationships with our neighbors. And we're going to continue to do that. We've also, we're going to send some letters out just so council's aware, just congratulating them. And Dawson Creek Secondary School Student Council I met with last week. So this was, another great opportunity to spend with them. They're looking at actually doing a strategic plan, so going through their strategic priorities. So they asked me to come in and just speak to that. So it was actually pretty exciting to see and where they're going to go with it. So I think it's a really good next step for them to set some strategic priorities. So that was great. Cultural Gathering of Nations. I think I gave an update on this last time. This was more, I just got an update on since then about the event from the organizers. And everybody was extremely happy with the event, and they felt like it was extremely successful. I just really wanted to share that. I talked about the event on the last one, so I wasn't going to get into that too much, but just the update from them. Next, we've seen another recipient of the King Charles III Coronation Medal went to Trent Lindbergh. So I just wanted to touch base with that on here because, Trent is just a phenomenal member of our community in our region, and what he does and his organizations do to support our community, it's just phenomenal. And Trent is just a true leader. He does a lot of stuff behind the scenes too. He's not about waving his flag. He just really does a lot to give back to our community to make it a better place. So I just wanted to congratulate him on this medal and recognition, but also just thank him for everything he does for our community. Next, Walking the Path of Justice First Nations Court Conference. So we had a presentation last council meeting on waiving their presentation, and their ask was to waive the costs for the facilities. So we chose not to do that. I have had some dialogue with them and just reached out to them about a sponsorship package. So I was going to put a motion forward that we support this conference at the silver level, $5,000 of that coming out of the Economic Development Fund and $5,000 of it coming as an in-kind sponsorship from waiving that portion of it from the event center. So if I can get a second, Councillor Sudnick. Any discussion? I guess I can speak a little bit to it. So I did, I reached out to them after our last dialogue that we had around it and explained to them where it went with council. And then they sent me the sponsorship package. I felt like, from after our dialogue here, that we see a lot of value in this, and we wanted to be, part of it, and it's a great thing for the region and our community. So I just got the sponsorship package, did a little bit of work, seen where our AcDev fund was at, and that's why I kind of put that motion forward. I think it's a good thing for our region for multiple reasons. So, Councillor Parslow.
Well, I'm planning on attending this, let's call it conference, workshops, whatever the format is, most appropriate word to use for the format. I have many questions, and I hope to learn quite a lot about it and its implications. And I am pleased that it's happening. But I have real problems with these sort of requests. And again, I ask the question, when would this council say no? Let's take one I raised last time, the Dawson Creek Gun Club. It brings a lot of activity to this community, economic development, economic activity, It's so it has great value. It's regional in perspective, and it's something that many people in our community are keenly interested in. How would council respond to requests for sponsorship for the gun show? Just to use it as an example. When would we say no?
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor Earl?
Well, I note the motion just made by the mayor is before us today because we said no at the last meeting. But, you know, it's, number one, an inaugural event. And if I do recall, there was a time when there were, I don't know if it was an in-kind donation of the facility, but certainly to accommodate the gun show, there are special considerations made by the event center to enable that and work with that group. But with respect to this is an inaugural event. You know, the economic development fund is not to say at the discretion of the mayor. He obviously discussed the choices he makes with council, but the cost benefit analysis he makes, and with respect to the event center, for any number of promoters, depending on what the deal is, a portion of the soft costs are sometimes included in the arrangement. This is kind of different insofar as it's coming to us after the deal has been signed. And if I had one criticism of this entire process, it would be the shortened, truncated timeline we had to consider it. I think it would have been a conversation I'd have been more appreciative of prior to the event being booked and a month out. But having said that, I am going to support this issue or this ask or this motion. And I think when it comes to grants, when it comes to the use of city facilities and what the costs are, you know, it is funded out of it is a line item in a budget, and it's done that way to give us the ability to do it on a one-off basis as we need. And certainly my experience here is that no local organizations are shy about asking for reduced cost at public facilities when they see a rationale for it. So I assume that'll continue irrespective of what we do here. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Councillor Earl took a few of my points there. Inaugural event, the social aspect of this this conference, et cetera. But I'd also highlight, you know, in the saying yes or no, just the level of speaker and national level, international participants that are coming to our community. It just gives us a great opportunity to showcase our community on a much bigger level than just regionally. I was happy when the mayor was bringing this motion forward. I truly believe we want to support this, support our neighbors on their efforts for their culture, for their people. I just see a lot of value in this, and I'm glad we are doing it, and I fully support the motion.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Just to speak to a little bit that was just said here. So I guess one is I was only bringing this back. I wasn't bringing it back because we defeated it at the last one. I was bringing it back because this was a sponsorship package. This was something different that came out of our discussions. So, and the other part is you know, to Councillor Parslow's comments, that there's a lot of great events that get brought to the community. And this is one that when I was looking at it, to host it here and to have, you know, 300 plus people at it, plus all the speakers, I just felt it was important that the city of Dawson Creek had their logo on it and that there was a partnership in there from the city of Dawson Creek. to show that we're in support of this, not only because of our neighbors, but also because of, the justice and what it brings to, right? We all face very similar issues. So the bigger picture, I just felt it was important to have the city of Dawson Creek as a sponsor, or, and a welcome to, to the delegates and to the participants, to the community. So, Councillor McDonald?
Apologies, Your Worship, I forgot to ask my questions. In the sponsorship package, it mentions there's an opportunity to have a table at the event. Will the city staff plan on having a table there, whether it's tourism or for any purpose at all?
That I don't know, but Kevin?
Yeah, through your worship. Yeah, we honestly haven't discussed it, so we're going to have to look at that and see who's available and who might want to attend. I know there's been a few people that have mentioned that they want to attend, so we haven't solidified it yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
I
then
think there's an exhibit table that can be so I would imagine there's probably a trade show style is what you're thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like there, right?
Yeah.
Just the tables.
Yeah.
And then just in your discussions with the organizers, are you going to get an opportunity to welcome everybody to the community there?
Well, I'm not too sure I offered it. I said that we would love the opportunity to welcome everybody. So if they felt like they wanted that in their agenda and wanted us to, I offered it to them.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it wasn't part of this. Like I just said, regardless of what we do, like if they felt that there's anything we can do to add value, that we would completely do it. I said that we would have some people attending there, but also that I'd be available if they wanted me to be part of their welcome, just to, to just real give a heartfelt welcome to the community. So, and to all the members. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? No? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed, and it's carried. One opposed, Councillor Parslow. Next, 11.2, delegation request from the South Peace Mile Zero Park Society. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would normally, I guess if we had a bit more detail, my motion would be to direct staff to take the Mile Zero Park Society's capital requests into consideration with respect to the budget process and how those are triaged according to other priorities, but I don't know that we necessarily got enough specifics from Alex this morning. So I guess it would be to follow up with the Mile Zero Park Society to get that list with respect to what the total capital ask is, what the breakdown is for the projects, and then take that into consideration as part of the budget process, because I feel like there's a lot to unpack that Alex brought to us this morning, and I want to give it its fair hearing, but we didn't necessarily get enough specifics to do that as of yet. So I'm not sure what that motion looks like.
So did you want to, yeah. It's tough for me to comment on that because I wasn't part of the delegation, unfortunately, this morning. So
it was he very much kept to the report. I think it was a good touch base, and he highlighted a number of priorities of various, as Councillor Parslow noted, some more urgent than others with respect to the campground and the work needed there in order to keep it competitive with other RV sites, and then the add-ons and the expansion of the recreational component of it. But like I said, we didn't get a specific number or breakdown of those projects. So I think the next step would be directing staff to reach out to the Mile Zero Park Society to get that breakdown, and then so we can incorporate it into the budget process.
Yeah, so that's your motion?
Sure.
Okay. I have a second. Councillor Kemp. Discussion. I guess, are you clear on that motion, Janice and Ted?
There we go.
Me with South Peace.
Society, to get information regarding their proposed capital project.
that
Sure.
okay? All right.
Very
Did
good.
you want to add to it?
No,
Okay.
I think that sums it up. I think staff,
Councillor Kemp.
does that give you what you guys need in order to move forward? Do you need something with more specificity?
Through your worship, yeah, that works. I think what we can do is we can go back, have the discussions, make sure we've got exactly what they were talking about, the details, their projected costs. We can have the discussions about, priorities, whether that be for them and also for the community, and just see how it all fits together.
And that's, part of the capital budgeting process is you guys identify what's high priority, medium, along a continuum of need, and then we use our finite resources to kind of chip away at it.
Yep.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I had a different motion prepared, but I can support this motion. I just want to definitely say how much I support the Mile Zero Park Society and their efforts. They've made a true difference in our community's recreation by the massive efforts they have put in with the pump track. They took an absolute disaster after the loss of the lake and have made something truly valuable to us from it. I hugely support this council doing everything we can to support the adventure playground. I do support the misting pad. I just want to make it really clear that I want that adventure playground there. I think it's hugely valuable, and I want to continue to support the MOPS efforts on a truly valuable piece of recreational infrastructure they've created. They've created a great hub space. These gentlemen aren't as polished in their ways of creating plans and et cetera in their communication, but what they're doing is making a massive change in our community, and they've created a great hub that has cost us very, very little in the grand scope of everything. And I just want to continue to support them and their efforts. I think what they're doing is great, and truly, I want to see it expanded.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Any other discussion? All right, I'll call this. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
Sorry. Yeah, just your worship, just talking with staff, with Melissa here. So just timing, we'll need to get that information right away because, we are in the capital project process. We're actually meeting as staff next week, I believe, to go through and start to prioritize internally. Because as always, everybody brings forward, what they have for individual priorities in their departments, and then you have to put it into the hopper, and you realize you've got way less than what, you need, and then you go through that whole process of determining what's the overall benefit for the community. So we'll have to get that rather quickly from them.
Okay.
So,
Thanks,
thank
Kevin.
you,
Go ahead,
Worship.
Councillor.
And in the report, he has laid out a number of figures, but there was just some ambiguity. There was no total or the timeline in which that total was being asked for. He mentioned in some instances there might be, several years worth of work.
Yeah.
And then there was some ambiguity around what they thought they could secure grants for and were expected to pay for, and what we were being asked to kick in as part of that. So I think a lot of the numbers exist. We just need to kind of organize it and.
Well, and I think for us, through your worship, is understanding the priorities, because not everything can be a priority. We all have that across the organization, so we'll have to figure out what is the most pressing or makes the most sense from that recreational area, and then we'll start
Yeah,
there.
and that's a conversation with them. Like I said, I tend to concur with some of the remarks made by Councillor Parslow that ensuring that the asset that you've got that's generating revenue remains competitive so that you can continue to provide the vital services that Councillor McDonald noted, which, you know, we all certainly appreciate, but it's just a matter of, putting a bit of, you know, if you want to call it bureaucratic polish on it, so we have something specific we can vote on and get guidance on, just because, I mean, as wonderful as the pump track project was and as much of an asset as it is to the community, I think we all recognize that it was haphazardly accomplished on our end anyway, with respect to how we allocated the capital and the loan and stuff like that. And I don't, wherever we land on what is getting funded and how much they're requesting, I don't want a repeat of that previous process where we don't know what we're committing to prior to shovels going in the ground. So that is why I made the motion, so that we can begin doing that work.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Councillor Parslow?
Well, I'm in the same view as Councillor MacDonald, and look forward to the budget discussions. As I said at the first, when they were here, and I said it for council hopefully to listen to as well, and staff, anytime you engage with volunteer organizations seeking grants, obtaining support from other entities within the community or region, there's going to be some hiccups. And we either develop some tolerance for hiccups or not engage in any way with community groups seeking grants, seeking business supports. And that will have, in my view, if you take that latter perspective, a total negative, it would be a real loss to the community at large. Because we all know that so many good things happen in this community. It's thanks to people such as the leadership of Mile Zero Park Society. And so the attitude needs to be flexible and understanding rather than judgmental. If we feel that they've made a good effort and circumstances changed, as was talked about, for instance, when we were talking about painting that building, we need to recognize that and make adjustments without castigating people as just not living up to their obligations. In Peters and Waterman's famous book about excellence, they describe inefficient, ineffective organizations that operate on the basis of ready, aim. Oh, the target's moved now. It's got more expensive, or it's disappeared. The opportunity's been lost. Excellent organizations follow the maxim, ready, fire, aim. And I looked at this project that happened, this wonderful asset that we have, which would have cost the city about $1 million more to do if it hadn't been done in the way it was done, as depicting the ready, fire, aim. We're not going to be always certain that you're going to get grants. You're not always going to be certain that a business that makes a commitment suddenly faced with the ripple effect of a major bankruptcy to one of their partnerships. It's a rapid change, and we have to accept that. If we're not willing the risk, then let's not go that route. But I'm always would be on the side of taking risk, okay? And I commend the Mile Zero Park for what they have done, how they approach things. And I would also like us, in a moment after we dispose of this, to consider another motion about dealing with that issue that Councillor Earl so correctly raised, which is about the loan. Because I'd rather them put their efforts in building something new, something else for our kids and their families to enjoy. I was in when the splash part was the misting part was opened. To my surprise, because I had been told they weren't going to do that. When I was in Fort St. John at that time, on 2-3 days when it was hot, and there were 3 times the number of people using the misting part here in Mile Zero part than were using the splash part in Fort St. John on 3 separate occasions. So I fully support their vision, and I recognize and I know we have a good staff who are very approachable, Alex and crew will be very comfortable working with. They do need to have some clarity in what was said, so I'm supporting this motion, but hope that we will take on a mantle of helping them develop and establish their dream in future budget discussions. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other discussion? All right, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried. Councillor Parslow.
I would like to move that staff meet with representatives of Mile Zero Park Society with the intent of the meeting being to come up with a realistic plan for the dealing with the loan that was given in support of the pump track.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Do I have a second? Councillor Kemp, discussion?
If I can speak to the motion.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Parslow.
Figures, as we had a pretty good presentation, I think, on the total costs for that pump track. So we do know in the report the excess of expenditure over the revenue that was received. And I think we need to be reconciling the loan that was given with that expenditure level, determine then what actually is still owing and how it can be dealt with or written off.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. Through you to Councillor Parslow. Is the intent of the motion for forgiveness of the loan then?
Councillor Parslow?
I would rather the staff review that and come forward with. See, I'm not sure. When I do the math in my head, they got a loan of X dollars. The project came in many hundreds of $1,000s lower. What impact did that have on? Did they get the full loan up front? I don't know. Just some resolution, a clear picture with suggestions, and one of the options, right? I really appreciate things like the Melissa often does when she can, gives you alternatives, recommendation A or B or C, something like that, which we can discuss based upon facts that staff, the figures are supported by staff. He's got his figures, I want staff's figures.
Excellent,
right?
Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship. I'm fine supporting this. I think having staff engage with them on it's good. I don't want to presume on behalf of the board of the Mile Zero Park Society, but also cognizant of some of the challenges that nonprofits are facing right now. You wonder if it is put to them to repay a $350,000 loan what impact is that going to have on their ability to operate, on their ability to maintain their assets, on their ability to further develop the facility? Is it going to be an albatross around their neck? And that's something, like I said, is become increasingly cognizant of in recent months with respect to nonprofits there at the community is that, especially given the report, they noted that visitorship was down 10% and they are needing to make some investments in order to shore up the competitiveness of the facility. So find out that conversation will be good to know because, like I said, just from reading the report, on an income of $701,000 from grants and the city loan, once again, I don't know if they're accounting the loan as income or it's in addition to the 701,000. So getting a clearer picture of what exactly the differential is and what it looks like they're exploring some new revenue options around sponsorships, which I think we could provide some clarity on. But once again, $350,000 is a pretty heavy anchor to have around your neck as you're trying to make progress. So we should probably have that conversation sooner rather than later. And I'm sure Melissa would like some direction from them as well as we head into budget.
Thanks, Councillor Earl. Kevin, do you need any clarification on the motion, or are you?
Through your worship, I don't think so. I look to Melissa if she needs some additional information. I mean, it's what I understand is we're just meeting to understand, hear directly from them. Do they have any intention of paying it back? If they do, what those terms might be? I mean, they signed an agreement with us at the time.
Yeah.
Things have changed. I appreciate that. We just need to know from a budgeting perspective because this hits the books next year. I believe Melissa can speak to that.
Yeah.
So that has an impact
Okay.
operationally for us. So we can have the discussion and then bring it back to council and with what we've heard and what your options are.
Okay, thank you. Melissa?
So through your worship, I would just want to add to that draft one does come in a little over a month. And so just timing wise with planning the capital and then potentially needing to come back with that report that I think it's a good idea and it can be done. Just that council's aware of the timing that may not happen before draft one. And so we'll have to work out what that looks like, but the time pressure with this, with needing to wrap up, is very tight.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? So I guess just to what Melissa said, Kevin, is there any, that's just the reality that we'll live in? Okay, there's nothing else you need from
No,
us
through
right
your
now.
worship, I mean, the reality is there's, throughout this process, there's always timelines that we,
Yeah.
you know, and it's a living document, so there will be changes. I
Yeah.
think Melissa's just letting you know, it may not show up in the first draft, but it will be after that,
Yeah.
that it will.
Okay.
Just so there's, nobody's surprised.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, if there's no more discussion, I'll call this motion to vote. Vote is closed and it's carried. All right, next order of business, we will just go back to 2.3. We have Staff Sergeant Hughes at Dawson Creek RCMP in attendance regarding detachment resource reports for August and September 2025. So, morning, Staff Sergeant.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Well, how are you?
Good. Chair working for you?
I'm a little wider than the chair is able to hold, so
Yeah.
we'll just sit sideways. I'm used to it.
Good morning, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What do we got here? So we have August and September's numbers for police reports. August, if anyone has any questions about August, I'll gladly go back to them, but in the face of moving forward, I'll try and do these the best I can at the same time. So our staffing numbers for the both months and this current month are pretty similar. We're running 71% rotable. So of the 31 regular member positions we have, we've got one on light duties for September, one on admin duties. One member is off sick. He starts back November 1st, back to regular duties, but there is a graduated return to work because of the amount of time that he's been off. So he should be back to full duties by the end of November. Typically, we for mental wellness and general health and well-being, they'll work a block, like they run 11 and 12-hour shifts, so they'll run a block of 8s, block of 9s, block of 10s, and then back at the end of the month they'll be back to regular 11 and 12-hour shifts. We have 5 frontline constable positions that are vacant right now. We're also running half strength in our GIS. We've taken 2 people from GIS temporarily and put them back to the watch, just to make sure that the frontline general response policing is staffed to acceptable levels so we can deliver core policing. So that's working well. We have one member, so he actually starts back tonight. He's got 6 years service, just over 6, so he's come back to Dawson Creek, returned. He was recently transferred out, and because, I'm not sure if I mentioned it last time, but Dawson Creek is now a provincial priority, so we were able to pull him back, which works really well. It resets his 3-year clock, so he has renewed his tenure here, and he's good solid member. We don't have to run him through any training or anything. He'll start night shift tonight or tomorrow night, I think, and just hits the ground running. So that's fantastic.
And then we're a priority, but it's also because that member wanted to come back here too, right?
Correct. Yeah. We don't have the ability to pull anybody in here that doesn't want to come.
Yeah.
Unless they're coming out of depot, which we have November 3rd. He graduates.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about that young man, he's 22 years old, and he is coming very willingly. He's worked around the province, not in a police capacity, but he's coming out of depot. So he's from the island. He's worked around Lower Mainland and the Island District and Southeast District, the Okanagan, and he was very excited to come north. He wanted to experience what the north had to offer, so we love having those people come. Those are the ones that come and stay 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. So
yeah, nice.
It's very excited to have him come. He graduates on the 3rd again, and his first shift is November 13th. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Our crime trend reporting for the 2 months. So one I printed in black and white, and the other I printed in color. And now I just realized just now that there's a reason why I print things in color. There you go. So our theft of vehicles for August showed a decrease of 27%, and September for a decrease of 21.5%, so trending up a little bit. So we're at year to date, we're 93 last year, only 73 this year. So overall, we're on a reduction, but it is trending back upwards. Theft from vehicle, so there's a little bit of a concerning number. For July, we showed an 80% increase. August, we're down to 58% increase. September, we're down to a 53% increase. So it is trending back in the right direction. The issue is that year to date, we had 51 last year and we have 78 this year. So those theft from vehicle are just an alarming number of wallets stolen from vehicles. And then those fall into the frauds that happen with credit cards that are used and bank cards that are, tap to pay and stuff. Very alarming number of wallets left in vehicles, unlocked vehicles. I know these are we get down to the unspecified assistance files at the bottom. People that are calling in, somebody walking down the road looking into cars. There's nothing illegal about looking into cars, but those unspecified assistance, again, I'll say it over and over every month, those are the files that get the police into the neighborhoods, that are getting the patrols to happen. We're challenging those people. What are you doing? And sometimes they have very colorful answers for us, and there's not much that we can do about that. But at least it has that face-to-face interaction, and they know that we know they're there, and it'll move them along, at least for a day or two. But this theft from vehicles is an increasing problem. Perhaps a media release might help, something like that. We can work together with the city and see what what messaging we can send out. The RCMP, we don't have a Facebook page here, but maybe a Facebook message, just locking your vehicles. We're coming into that time of year now again where theft of vehicles typically rise. People are pulling into Tim Hortons or a gas station or McDonald's or something, and wherever, running in and leaving their vehicles running in the parking lot. And those opportunistic thieves will sometimes hop in those vehicles and take them for a little bit of a joyride or get from point A to B. And we typically see the theft of vehicles rise this time of year. So our break and enters to residents are down. They were down 19% in August. They're down 8% year to date. All of these numbers again are year to date. So we like to see those decrease. These are general property crime files that fund drug use for a lot of it. Break and enter businesses was down 39%. We saw an increase, but overall for September it's still a decrease year to date of 8%. All of our assault offenses combined for August was a decrease of 7%. We're about flat for a decrease of 8% for September. Sexual offenses for September were a 14% increase, and that increase dropped to 3%. So 34 for last year, 35 for this year. So that sitting pretty flat. Our drug possession, drug trafficking, I like to see this number going up. Might be an odd statement to hear, but that means that we are pushing these charges. We're never going to win the complete battle against the drug war, but increasing this number of charges is a good start. So the harder our men and women are working on these charges, the better we're fighting that battle. So having that go from 21 to 27 is just simply the hard work that's being done by the teams over there. So impaired driving, increase of 33% for August and an increase of 40%. And these are targeted events, targeted roadblocks. The teams over there just doing patrols, people calling in, somebody's weaving around on the road, stopping those vehicles. And this is all impaired driving. So it's 24-hour suspensions, IRPs, which is the immediate roadside prohibitions, criminal code charge impaireds, all of those combined. Right down to your class 7 driver, they have 0% alcohol tolerance, so that stat is in here as well. Motor vehicle collisions for our August was down 26%, and they're down 23% for September. Total last year of 270 for 207 this year. So, interesting stat as you see the impaired charges go up, the collisions go down. Doesn't take a genius to put that together. I think everybody can see where that goes. I like it. Theft, shoplifting. So our theft and shoplifting it's quite high. So August was an increase of 8%. This month is an increase of 11%. It's 315 year to date last year and 349. That's more than one a day. We're only 10 months into the year. Again, I won't speak too much about Crown or court, but until there's a real consequence for people to stop stealing things, we have a very hard time managing this number. People steal things for all kinds of reasons. It's probably a good half-hour discussion just on that alone. But we know that people are stealing to support different habits that they have. We had a young man in cells last 2-3 weeks ago, and he said he was using, I think the number he said was up to $200 a day in drugs. So that money has to come from somewhere. He's not employed. He gets a little bit of social service, but a very kind of sad awakening or eye-opening to the amount of crime that has to happen to support that level of drug use. Our mental health files increase of 1.2% for August and is increased up to 2.4%. So 558 files year to date with a mental health component to them. So these take quite a bit of resources. It's usually at least 2 members or 3 members, and a night when we have 2 members on the road and 1 watch commander in the office. This literally takes all of our resources for a good portion of a night shift. Unspecified assistance, 17% increase for August, and again 17% increase, decrease for September. See, that's why you need to color code these things and print in color. Our unhoused files involving members of our unhoused community, 120 year to date at the end of August, and we're 23 for the month of September, for 143 total files year to date to any involvement whatsoever with anybody from our unhoused community. And we should see those numbers, like January was 22, and then February and March were 7 and 10. So as the weather gets colder, typically members of our unhoused community will find places to stay. Some of the shelter will move into shelters. Last year we had the encampment over here in the government property, and they were moved into hotels. So that number tends to go down a little bit as it gets colder, depending on how the winter goes. Citizens on patrol, we continue to meet with them. Their hours, I had the stats for their hours. I didn't bring them with me. I apologize for that. Amazing number of hours that those volunteers, the COPS and the Rural Crime Watch teams and Southeast Crime Prevention people are putting in. It's just excellent effort. And the extra set of eyes between the formal and the informal groups that we have. I will give a shout out as well to the CTA, the group, the CTA, the Citizens Take Action. We've recovered just this last couple of weeks. We recovered a couple of stolen quads, some information that they gave us, helped secure some charges on another individual this week. Just fantastic information from all those volunteers, stuff that we can't do all on our own. So I can't thank our citizens that are involved in these groups enough. So it's just fantastic work. Violence suppression efforts continue. We have the overtime initiative, we call it VST for Violence Suppression Team. Kind of a fancy name that's got some sex appeal to it, to have some people come out and help along with that initiative. And that's where we're targeting our high-risk prolific offenders, our curfews, people with conditions, and just checking those conditions, people with warrants. And we find all kinds of interesting things with those stops. So gun seizures, drug seizures, money seizures. And those continue. So as long as we're putting the pressure on there, those numbers continue to drop. So I did a little bit of inquiry with our analysts just this morning. So I don't have all of the numbers or a wholesome explanation, but I will work on this for next month. Just for our 3-year crime trend, and the graphs. In the summer, like our crime typically spikes in the summer and drops in the winter. So it's very difficult. The drops and the rises as an average for most things, like our total crime code. So from 2022 to 2025 show, she used the word stable. So, there's no curve to it. It's quite flat. Our violent crime has risen just recently, so it's showing a 12.5% in violent crime and 11.3% in property crime. But if you go into the graphs that we have, it's very, very flat. Our total crime index for the area. A lot of effort is being put in. Those dividends are showing in the efforts. Even the rises are single-digit rises in percentage overall. The graph, I'll show the graph. I don't know who can see it from here. It's quite a ways away, but it looks like a heart rate monitor. It's very high and very low. It's not the blue line through the middle is the overall trend. So we're not showing, huge big rises and falls over the long term. So these spikes are all in the summer, and the dips are all in the winter. So our violent crime is still pretty flat. It's showing an increase of 9 files. Harassment and uttering threats being the most. So it's not those serious assaults that are spiking. It's all violent crimes combined are showing a little bit of a rise from 2022. But until this summer, we were showing a decreasing trend. Our property crime is trending down. Even with the spikes that we've had for August and September here this year, the overall trend is still a downward trend over the last, since 2022. Other criminal code is trending down. That's your breach offenses, cause disturbance, mischief, property damage, graffiti, stuff like that. And then, of course, our CDSA offense, which is the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, drug offenses, that is showing a 50% increase. But again, that's mostly due to decriminalization and then the modifications to decriminalization and the efforts that have been put in here by our general investigation team and our general duty members, just securing those charges and going after the drug houses and writing the search warrants and doing the seizures. And we just did another search warrant on the weekend that was fantastic results. So hopefully I'll be able to speak more to that later in the week. And Your Worship, I can contact you directly for that. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Very much look forward to seeing that other report. And yeah, interesting. So I'll open it up here. Councillor Parslow.
So can you paint a picture in my mind what a member on light duties does as compared to a person on administrative duties?
I can do that through your worship. So somebody on administrative duties is exactly that. So our administrative duties are our paperwork, filing, any investigative work that can be done in the office, stats, compiling body-worn camera. These body-worn cameras that we have are a fantastic tool, but very, very, very administratively loaded. So anybody that's on admin duties, essentially if somebody that's on admin duties can't put the uniform on. So they can't have any interaction with the public where there would be, could be, should be any threat of an interaction of anything other than pleasurable, we'll say. So we typically just don't, anybody on admin duties doesn't have an interaction with the public. They can take statements from witnesses. Those are typically allowed. And then full duty frontline is your first responder in uniform, all your intervention options, whether that's baton, pistol, taser, shotgun, carbine, you're in your car, you're responding to calls.
So why is a person put on administrative duties? Is it because the normal administrative staff needs extra help, or?
No, so administrative duties can be a number of things. We don't typically put somebody on admin duties just because somebody else needs help. It's usually because of an illness, an injury, whether that be, for whatever.
Right.
But usually it's an illness or an injury, something that is precluding you from being able to put yourself in harm's way, and we need to be able to do that. So.
Right, just a couple of other comments. I find the 30%, almost 30% drop in actual frontline people, either because of illness, sickness, paternity leave, or just the inability of the RCMP to provide cadets coming out of Regina to fill vacant positions, right? Because you have 5 of them, right, in both August and September. I have a good friend who's a city councillor in Grand Prairie, just got re-elected. And I asked him why the city of Grand Prairie went from RCMP to a municipal police force. I asked him some time ago. Any rate, they have had lots of people applying to their force. And one of the things they did, and maybe other municipal forces do that, if you get selected for training, you go on full salary. Now, for years, the RCMP has had struggled either to attract and or to place sufficient members into the vacant positions. And my friend thinks that the placing people on full salary whilst in training really opened up the opportunities for people to consider police work because many, they've been working a number of years already. I mean, it's rare to take somebody the age of 20, usually in their late 20s. I stand to be corrected, Bob, there, but late 20s, mature people have had some experiences in life. I support all that rationale. But one of the definitions of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I think it's just not working. I just wonder, what would it take, and how can a municipality perhaps petition for this, to offer full salary to cadets, to say the city of Dawson Creek will sponsor X number of cadets and pay them a full beginning salary on the commitment that they will come to Dawson Creek and put in X number of years of service. Now, I know the RCMP would, that's not their way of doing things, but I'm just suggesting this quest for professionals, and I do regard the RCMP as professionals, we've got to start doing something different, because a 30% reduction, look at the extra stress and strain that puts on active members, okay? There's no shortage of work to be done. And we just got to start thinking differently. So if municipal police forces can do something, why don't we advocate for something like that for cadets coming out of the RCMP? What would it take?
Thank you, Councillor. Through your worship, a very timely question that you have, because anybody that has been following federal government policies, there has just been put forward, I think it's been passed, for 1,000 new RCMP officers across the country, and for the recruit training allowance to go from $500 a week to $1,000 a week, which by my math in my head quick is $48,000 a year to go to depot. So I'm very pleased to say that the city of Dawson Creek doesn't have to vote on or foot the bill for anybody to go and reach full salary, because $48,000 I think is quite a respectable salary to be training.
How does that compare to a cadet in their first 6 months or first year of duty?
Without looking on my phone for the actual salary data, I think it's in the 60s.
Yes, I was going to say 60,000.
I think so.
So they'll be on 2/3 as a cadet.
Correct. So there's a lot of questions in here. So through your worship, I'll do my best to answer them. So 30% drop in frontline policing of people. So it's not just frontline; it's 30% across the detachment. Yeah. And we have taken 2 bodies of the 5 vacant. We have taken 2 bodies out of the general investigation section and put them back to the watch. And now we have 1 new person is just showing up today or tomorrow. That brings that down to frontline from 5. That takes it to 3. Then that takes the new person coming back takes it down to 2, and we have somebody coming from depot that brings it down to 1. Eventually, those two GI resources will go back up, and we'll balance that out. But we have hopefully we have some more people coming. There's only so many people that are attracted to the job of policing. I can say I didn't go to depot until I was 32 years old. I didn't get paid any money. It was zero back that day, and I can tell you that my desire to work in the field of policing, specifically for the RCMP, I made it work. I was married. I had a 2-year-old child. It was a huge financial strain for me to go to depot and not get paid, and my desire to be a police officer with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, I just made it work. So hopefully we have more of those people in the background coming up. I know that policing and staffing in general across the country, it's not an RCMP issue, whether it be Toronto, Peel, Vancouver, Surrey, any of these police forces, and even the Grand Prairie transition. I don't have a lot of details on it, but I know that they have been working on it for some time. And much like Surrey, who is mid-transition or in the final phases of transition, still don't have the numbers that they need. You can only attract so many people to the career of policing, so fast. If it was as simple as paying more money, Grand Prairie and Surrey would both have full police forces, which they don't. So I do know, I'm not a psychologist, but I do know from courses that I've taken that salary is what's determined to be a temporary satisfier with job conditions and such, without getting too deep into that. So I think that the going to $48,000 a year, doubling that from 24, is going to attract more people, and maybe somebody that was considering going to a municipal police force. Some of the benefits that the RCMP offer with mobility, Canadian heritage, the Red Surge, things like that. Hopefully that will attract more people. So if this is just new, that's just in the last couple of weeks. So it'll take a little bit to see how fast the human reaction is to that and how our staffing numbers rise. But I think that answers most of your questions.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Councillor McDonald?
Thank you, Worship. I just wanted to comment on the 30% shortage overall and give a huge thank you to you and your staff for stepping up to continue to provide the level of service you are to our community. I think it is amazing. And you mostly answered this question, but just if you could maybe give us a little more personal insight, that when you are looking at the trends in those street level crimes, the open drug use, vandalism, petty theft, it seems like Dawson Creek is in a better position today than we were 2 or 3 years ago, like you were saying there. And, showing hopefully that your efforts, the CTAs, the Citizens on Patrol, the Rural Crime Watch, the combined effort is paying off. Is that your personal take on it?
Yes, thank you. And through your worship, I do believe it is paying off. If left unattended, with no reaction from the public or the police, we all know where crime rates go. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very safe to say, from my personal opinion, as a commander of a detachment of 50-something people, watching these numbers trend in the direction that we want them to go, I don't see it being a result of anything other than the efforts that are being put forward, and whether that's our surge capacity when teams like ERT, the emergency response team, or major crime from North District or from the Lower Mainland, or uniform gang enforcement team come up, and we do those the blitzes and the pushes, and there's literally dozens of police officers. We've seen the effect that has on crime rates, and the lasting effect, and the overall crime trending. So from a personal point of view, it's we're getting there slower than anybody would like, but at least we're going in the right direction.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Councillor Earl?
Thank you, Your Worship, and all out of respect for Staff Sergeant's time, I'll try and be as quick as I can. We received a couple weeks ago, and I forwarded it to my fellow councillors and Kevin, but I'm not sure if it made its way to you, the biannual homelessness count. Did you get a chance to see that at all?
I don't believe I did.
Okay. I hope somebody at staff could maybe kick it forward. It was a very interesting kind of snapshot of the homelessness, and 2 years ago in 2023 was the first time Dawson Creek was included in it. So as a baseline, we now have, and what it essentially is similar to the long-term trend you showed, is the number of homelessness people in town is stable around 50-ish based on the count they do, but more of them have, I guess, the homelessness word you'd use, I guess, is people who are on the street versus people who have tentative or unstable housing situation. But there's more people who have a roof over their head in 2025, according to the count they did than people in 2023. So I'll hopefully make a note to staff to maybe forward that your way, and it's done in conjunction with, I forget the name of the organization, but it's a nonprofit that does it. Now we're set to do it every 2 years. So interesting insights into that. And just with respect to the thing you noted with respect to violent crime, the kind of harassment, not necessarily the more dramatic versions of violence that are in the paper, but kind of the trend lines, stuff like that. I note that it does appear that our counterparts at the provincial and federal level are beginning to take matters like that a bit more seriously, with the announce from the federal government last week of the bail reform and the how aggravating factors would apply to people who commit offense against first-time responders, retail theft, theft, mischief, repeat offenders, chronic offenders, repeat violent offenders. And then at the provincial level, when we were down for UBCM, the province made special note that they're going to revisit how they're dealing with intimate partner violence as kind of a special consideration. Of the kind of, violent crime, or it's classified as violent crime, how would you say the prevalence of intimate partner violence has stayed stable, increased, gotten worse? And I guess it's, obviously it's one of those crimes that's very hard to track because, people who aren't reporting it keep it fairly hush-hush. But is that, without asking you to comment on policy, is that something that would benefit from a lot more attention from the province?
So thank you, Councillor. Through your worship, IPV, intimate partner violence, we have very strict policies on it. Whenever there's a set of questions that we ask, whenever there's a situation of an assault or assault with weapon, ag assault, attempt murders, anything like that, there's questions that go through. And when we're taking statements from the victims or witnesses, there's a set of criteria that determine whether or not something is IPV or not. And even a past relationship, if at any point in time two people have been in a relationship, then we classify that as an IPV offense.
Okay.
So we have a very good way of capturing the files that come across our office. Unfortunately, and again, I don't have the statistic, but again, the training that I've received on this, there is an alarming high number of intimate partner violence occurrences that don't get reported. And I think it's in the 30 plus range of times that it happens before the first report. So it's very alarming, disturbing number of those violent events that are happening before somebody reports it. So again, we as the police, the general message that goes out, we try to create an environment where people feel more comfortable and feel safe to report things like that. There's a whole mental piece, psychological piece that goes around IPV files. That's why we have victim services, things like that. But unfortunately, it's speculated, because that's all we can do, that there's a huge number of IPV violent offenses that go on behind the scenes that don't ever get reported. And all we can do as police, or as mayor and council, as cities, as society, is to try and build trust with the general public to bring those cases forward.
Yeah, and I got a sense that the efforts, I think, were going to be also geared towards increasing the capacity of the courts to deal with them. So I hope to see that materialize, because it's all well and good to talk about stiffer sentences and bail reform, but if you don't have the capacity for the courts to actually process people in a timely fashion, then it's ultimately not landing on your plate, as it were. And I would commend you for picking the colors of blue and green in your reports, because I do believe Councillor Parslow is colorblind partially, so that's a good call. Either way, black or white, green or red, doesn't matter to him. Thanks, Councillor Earl.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if he was listening until just now.
Are you going to get it back in line?
I'm cutting his mic off right now. Thanks, Councillor Earl.
So I did have a conversation with Michael Popov just before I came over here, and he says he's presenting at an upcoming event. He was looking for jokes about the mayor, but perhaps those are better suited for Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I could trade Councillor Parslow
I got some
positions
material for you.
at that event.
Okay.
For me?
No.
Oh, okay. Any other questions? I had a couple, but when you were talking about the theft numbers being up, and obviously concerning it's that high, but I know when you first came here, we had quite a bit of dialogue around some like the retailers in the community that weren't necessarily calling the RCMP, so that was a big push. So do you, obviously that number is high and alarming, but do you feel like it's increased your time here? Or do you feel, because I know one of the business owners calls all the time now and never did before, so do you feel like that there's been an increase in that, or is it just more that they are contacting you to get these numbers up so we can?
So thank you, Your Worship. It's hard to tell and put an actual number to how much is new or how much was happening before and not being reported. One of the small issues that we have is we can get more people to call, but sometimes, and I know without having the exact stats in front of me, we do have a percentage of reportees that will call in and say, somebody just stole a block of cheese and ran out the door. We know who they are. We need a file number. Okay, so we send a member over and we're trying to put through a report to Crown Council to charge the offender, and whatever the business is like, we're not interested. We just want a file number. So that gets reported as a theft, but then we can't do anything with it. So that takes the statistic, the math between how many events and how many charges, and separates that. So it makes it a little more difficult. And again, we know that without some sort of consequence, why would they stop?
Yeah,
exactly. Really, without getting too deep into it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. Okay. And I think, obviously, we appreciate what you do and what all your members do. And, and you talked about over the last 3 years, and the next report that you're going to give us, that it shows that we've flatlined. I feel like that's a huge win considering the way the state of everything is right now. I just feel like your focus and the members here, they've done a phenomenal job here and in decreasing numbers. So when you do that report, do you get provincial stats as well, to see where we are in comparison to others? Because I feel like, lots of ours have decreased or increased a bit, or they're very flatline. Is there comparables in the province? Is that, average, or I guess, really, do you see those? Do you see provincial-wide numbers?
So thank you, Your Worship. I only see those if I ask for them. Okay. And I know that the comparables, for a number of members, detachment size, available resources are comparables. Quesnell, Williams Lake, and then it's either Terrace or Prince Rupert, I can't remember, and Dawson Creek are the 4 comparables. And we fall about the middle. We're not, best and worst isn't the right words, but we're not the best and we're not the worst. So I can get those numbers. If that's something that council is looking for, probably best to go year end, and I can report on that in January and have some comparables. It's not something that's reasonable to do every month.
Yeah. Okay.
The other thing with the way that we report, again, when I came 2.5 years ago now, if you can believe that, one of the things I asked was are these numbers and these statistics that we report on sufficient for council? And the general consensus was that it was. We can break down, if we take all assault offenses, so our violent crime, so when the violent crime is showing a slight trend up, because of recency. When we look at our all assaults combined, we have a decrease from year to date of 8%. But this isn't violent crimes. This is just the assault side of violent crimes. When criminal harassment, harassing phone calls, unwanted contact, all that. That's included in that violent crime statistic. So the problem with, I don't want to have this list so blown up that each single crime type is reported on. It kind of loses some value. But that's the difference in, somebody may ask, well, are all assaults, why are they decreasing, but our violent crime is increasing, so how does that work?
Yeah.
But that's why, because violent crimes is all violent crime together. We literally have, it's called UCR's Universal Crime Reporting. So we have different crime codes for just about every offense, and there's literally hundreds. I would be here for hours going through if we broke it down too much. So to try and get a good picture of what's most important to report on, this is how it was when I came here. We can modify this a little bit if Your Worship, if you choose. We can have a conversation about if there's something else that council wants to see. We can also add some things into here, or if there's a stat that there isn't much value in that council doesn't need to have, we can take it out.
Yeah.
But that we can have that conversation at any point. Okay. One thing in the reporting here, where are we at? So I don't know if this is reflective of the data that council has, but this shows a slight decrease in population of 2.2% since 2022. Do you know if that's accurate, Your Worship?
Not that I've heard of, but I mean, it's pretty flat level. I don't know. Kevin?
Dawson Creek all around?
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah, through Your Worship. I just, it fluctuates a little bit up and down, but what was it, 2.2%?
It's down 2.2%.
Since 2022?
Yeah, that's what he said, 2022.
So this is 24 to 25, down 2%. Number of police files has increased by roughly 4%. So we're getting more calls despite having a slight decline in population. And the population is...
No, keep going. Yeah.
Sorry, the population numbers, I don't know where these numbers came from. Again, I was asked a question last night, so I'm trying to be prepared for that. I got this early this morning.
What is the population?
I've just got the percentage, sorry.
Some figures I've seen show an increase slightly. It's 12. I'm looking at 12,900-ish, getting close to 13,000, which is a bit of an increase.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So when we're down into the percentages this low.
There's a disparity between federal and provincial numbers. So depending on whose stats you have.
Okay.
Federally, 2021, we had 12,300 in Dawson Creek. That was up from the previous 5 years. We won't know where that stands until the 2026 census. And then, generally speaking, the province tends to have us at a higher population than the federal government by anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500. And they haven't, going back to the pandemic, been able to articulate what that difference is or how it's measured and why it's different. So.
Okay, thank you. So, Your Worship, I'll look into find out where these stats came from.
Okay.
Exactly. Again, a 2% difference is...
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Thank you. And then, to your comments about the way this is reported, I haven't heard anything from council, but, I think it's good. And I think, too, if there was some comparables, respecting your time, whatever that is, if it was just at the end of the year and it was something that you could do fairly easy, it would be neat. It would be nice to see some comparables, but also respecting your time. I don't, if that's hours and hours to do, then just let us know. And
Thank you, Your Worship. It's not ours. It's
okay.
It's a little bit of work. I'll send it through the crime analyst in Prince George, and then I've got to get versed with it.
Yeah.
It's the longest time, the time for me.
Yeah.
But I will find out where these where the population stats came from.
Okay.
And I'll have those. I'll have the comparables ready for once year end is gone. So it'll be January's presentation.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Your Worship.
You're welcome. Councillor Kemp.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I just kind of had a question off of what the mayor had asked in regards to property owners, if they're continually having an individual on the property that is continually loitering, making messes, climbing into the dumpster, doing all these things, do you continually want these calls? Because it's something that I unfortunately face at my other place of employment, where this individual threatens staff, all the things. So we're constantly calling. Is that type of the calls that you're wanting repeatedly every time?
So thank you. And through your worship, yes, we do. That's mischief file. There's a cost associated to cleaning that up. And if whatever the business is, if they can come back to us and say, it took half an hour to clean this up, and half an hour of our time is worth this much, or even create an internal bill. This is what we allocated to have this mess cleaned up. Well, now there's a financial piece to the mischief, and then we can give that person, as long as the business is willing to participate in charging and the court process, then we can give that person a no-go to that property.
We've tried trespass notices, all the things. This particular individual doesn't care.
Trespass notice is different than a criminal code condition, like police ordered or a court ordered condition. So those are enforceable. Trespass notice is a little bit different to try and enforce. So.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Kemp. Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment about the reports that you raised, right? What stats there. This is not a criticism, but just a suggestion, okay? I think one of the important things that should happen annually, and I know it does happen, but I don't know that it's engaged council as it could do, is I think there should be, at the very beginning of the calendar year, a review of the annual statistics, accompanied by your analysis of it and how your strategic planning is going to be informed by those statistics. I know you engage in strategic planning. I believe it's annually. It may be more than that, but I think a very important use of data is for that. And you do an analysis on the annual. You might also have what the mayor's just talked about, comparison with other communities as further information. But what's your assessment and what's your strategic plan for addressing the issues? As it relates on monthly reports, I would be much happier just having from you a report on the highlights from the previous month, the significant changes and a commentary on it, not those things that are fairly static. And I would leave the judgment as to what is significant to you as detachment commander. And any issues that you're dealing with that you want council to be aware of, and see if there's some other ideas for dealing with them. So monthly highlights and issues, and annually review of the annual data. So much of your data is insignificant changes, right? But I would think we'd be more interested in the big changes that are causing you to do some reflection, some analysis. That would be very interesting. So they're my suggestions.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Parslow.
So thank you through your worship. So as it stands now, we have our fiscal year, the RCMP fiscal year is from April 1st to March 31st, and we create an APP, which Councillor Parslow is very familiar with, which is our annual performance plan. And in that is strategic planning. There is collaboration with the mayor beforehand and the mayor of Puskupi to see what those strategic priorities are going to be, what the detachment priorities are, what the community priorities are, and what we're doing about those, what those initiatives are. We report that back to district on a quarterly basis. So, Your Worship, if you wish, we can add APP reporting in quarterly after the quarters, and have a little piece, 10 or 15 minutes, just based on the APP, what our initiatives are, what progress we're making on them. If that's something that council wishes for.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, as it relates to the initiatives, I think they're, I mean, not that Darcy's a very collaborative mayor, but it's just no criticism, but I think it might be good for us to look at the data you're using, because we all might have different perspectives on it. I'm talking about in your annual strategic initiative planning. What's the data? What are your initiatives should be perhaps presented to council? And we offer some comment if we have any that might impact your thinking on it. I mean, we all have good relationships here. I mean, it's nothing adversarial. We can sometimes differ on things, but I think you asked the question, and I think the annual strategic planning informed by the data and trends is important rather than the monthly, but I think we should get highlights on a regular basis, and any issues or concerns that you have, talk about them.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow.
Yeah, thank you.
I seem to remember too, you do talk about your strategic priorities in here.
We do. Yes.
Yeah.
So the APP is created in March for an April 1st implementation date. And that is driven by the data of what's important in the community. And it's not a 3-week or a month-long conversation with yourself, your worship. This is the issues of the community. And typically it's violent crime, it's property crime, the drug trade that feeds that vicious circle. And that's typically what the APP is driven by here in Dawson Creek since I've been here. And it was very much the same in the last community that I had command of. It's the same problems plague just about every community in every city in the province, if not the country. Traffic safety is another one of our initiatives, trying to reduce the amount of fatalities, collisions, trying to reduce property crime, drug use, drug sales, production, that type of thing. So I'm more than happy to present that in March in front of all council and have input from everyone in council, if that's something that you desire, your worship.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you. Thanks for your time today. And I know we took up a bit more than we normally do, but we appreciate your commitment to what you do every day and to your whole team. It's phenomenal. I've seen a few members on the weekend, and we're very grateful. So
thank you very much. I've said it before. I get texts on my phone from a few of council and yourself, your worship, and it goes a long ways when that message gets passed on to the team to know that mayor and council care as much as you do and are as appreciative as you are. It helps a lot. So thank you to everyone, and my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
You as well.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next 12. Over to you, Kevin, Chief Administrative Officer, Operational Update.
Thank you. Good morning. A couple quick updates. Water. So with some recent rains, we did some flow tests or flow measurements last week, so that won't include the snow that we've had over the weekend. The flows in the river were up, so that's positive. But to keep it in perspective, we're probably at 10 to 15% of what normal flows are this time of year. So it's up, and we're able to pump more, and we are topping up reservoirs, so that's good news. So that's buying us some more days. So, and this wet snow, although I don't think Tumbler saw this, so it didn't reach the, Bear Hole Lake area and whatnot, but we would have got some at least part way up through the watershed, so it'll be helpful. It's good moisture nonetheless. And just on the snow topic, I know the mayor and I chatted yesterday about snow, and as it comes, everybody, our minds shift, and we've got new challenges to face. Just a reminder to everybody out there that these first few snowfalls are always a little bit tricky. We don't have any residual salt, sand, on the road, so when it cools off, things will be slipperier than normal, and everybody's adjusting to the new reality of snow, so that's coming. As well, when people clear their driveways and all that, just a reminder, don't push it out on the street, please, push it off to the sides. Sidewalks in front of your property are generally your responsibility to clear, except for those that we have on our routes for our sidewalk clearing program. And this early season, the ground is not froze, so if we are out clearing snow, there's a much greater chance that if we touch the grass or the boulevard or something, it's going to get marked up pretty handily because the ground's soft. Once it freezes, it's not nearly as bad, but there will be some scalping of lawns early on. Unfortunately, that seems to be something that we just can't avoid completely. So we certainly try. Our operators, it's not that they don't care. It's just that there's bound to be a few little hiccups along the way. So, so any questions?
Thank you, Kevin. Councillor Parslow.
Yes, well, some wonderful work has been accomplished in the area of improvements in our communities, repairs, sewer lines, paving, and so on. Is there still some ongoing work that might be negatively impacted by the rather sudden change in weather?
Through your worship, that it's the hope is it's supposed to warm up a little bit midweek. Hopefully we can finish off the last little bit of some patching and whatnot. Specifically, we need to get in front of the arena done one way or the other because that's the storm sewer that was installed through there in the fall. This just makes for a mess. As far as anything groundwork and stuff, we're still good for a while, as long as it doesn't get too cold, because compaction can start to be a bit of a problem. But generally speaking, I think we're not too bad of a place. There'll be a few little straggling items, but generally we're doing okay.
Yeah, well, it's been a very busy year, and I think everybody's very pleased with how things were done and what has been done.
Yeah, thank you.
So the trail adjustment on 17th Street, is that finished? I believe it is, but is there still a section to be done?
Yeah, I'll let Devin, go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, through your worship, that was paved, like on Friday. It was paved. I actually walked with my family with it on Saturday. There's still a little bit of work to be done, some shouldering, some final touch-ups, landscaping, some concrete work still to do in those bump outs on 17th Street. And there's overhead crossing signals that have to go up still. But we're working through it. If we can't get it completely done this winter, we know we are waiting for some we're still waiting for some news from some federal funding. Then we will look to get it finished off in the spring. But it can be used by people walking, and we'll make sure it gets to a point where for the winter time it'll be usable for those to enjoy it in the winter.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? Kevin, there's one thing I just wanted to add. I forgot to under Mayor's updates. I just wanted to give a thank you to the city team. Just I know this summer we had a lot of work done around the community, but it is phenomenal how much has been done this fall. Like when you look at 110th or finishing off the water sewer project or the trail, like the arena, like it has been phenomenal how much more work has been done this fall than you normally would see, and the patching as well, like to see out like all the patching. So I know we recognized it in the summer, but I wanted to recognize it now too, because it's for October, there's a lot of work that has been getting done. So it just hear a lot of it throughout the community that people are, I know it does trouble some in their day to day, but for the most part, most are very appreciative to see all that work. And and then one other thing too is I was yesterday, I just happened to be at the public skating at the arena, and I was actually blown away how many community members were there, and from youths to seniors that were out there just having a social event. It was pretty amazing to be part of and to see the team down there, how engaged they were with the individuals too. But there was 100 people that were there last night, and I just, don't go there much for that, but I did, and it was just really phenomenal. So I just wanted to say thank you. I know that it's been, I can only imagine how busy the team's been, because it feels like this last month there's been just stuff going on in every area of town. So just, thank you.
Thank you, and kudos to the team. And it's the culmination of a summer, a very busy summer, and often that's it's those visible pieces that everybody sees at the end, right? It's the concrete going down, it's the asphalt going down, it's all those pieces, and thankfully we had a long enough, warm enough fall to get it all done, because there was earlier in October we were getting a bit concerned that we might run out of time, but we managed to get, like you say, the lion's share of the projects complete, and hopefully we still got a little bit of time.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Councillor Earl.
Thank you, Worship. In the same vein, I want to commend city staff for the quick and efficient work they did to address the pipe burst across from the CDC. I was at a board meeting earlier or late last week, and obviously the CDC, but they were marveling at the fact that they were able to open the next day for regular business. They were expecting, given how it looked when it happened, and they watched it out their window, they figured they'd be down for a number of days, just because obviously you can't run daycares with no water pressure. But they were tremendously impressed at the turnaround time, the city staff's dedication at working through the night to get to isolate the problem and get it addressed. So I wanted to pass those compliments along.
Thank you. I'll certainly pass that along.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Councillor Earl. I didn't mention to the CEO of Northern Health, I did to Kevin, but he also reached out to me right away, just thanking the city for how quick they dealt with it. So we passed that on to the team, but I didn't share that with council. So thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Worship. Building on what the mayor was saying about the users for the drop-in ice, what do we have any initial takes about our sports floor usage and numbers at all, or can we create a report for a future meeting, just giving us some original takes on it?
Yeah, Ryan, you can.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, through your worship. So in the departmental updates, just to the nature of the third quarter reporting, there's a little bit of a snippet of the preparation and the, getting it all ready for it. The sports floor, all accounts have been, I believe, successful in terms of the variety of activities that are being used, and I would even say the allocation or the amount of people that are using it, in terms of, on one side might be volleyball, and you got pickleball or badminton or indoor soccer, whatever, or futsal on the other side. So we're getting a variety of different uses. We've hosted some drop-in opportunities. So we invited South Peace Soccer to come and for them to try out the sports floor, and offered futsal on both sides. There got to have been 100 kids there running around. But further to that, then from that response, we've done an adult drop-in, and we've also created our own, I'm going to call it league or drop-in, a registered drop-in. And I think it was last week, could be wrong, could have been maybe 2 weeks now. We went out and said, hey, the registration's open for these activities. And within 24 hours, we had wait lists, and those wait lists ended up being full as well. So I do see some of the activities that we are providing are starting to click and resonate. I think the prolonged summer, into late October has had an impact for people to come inside. So the weather, I think, will help. I do know that we've had an increase usage during the day for pickleball. And so it's just one of the things for us is to finding our groove in terms of the use and who's using it and when, and to prove to some of the organizations and groups that the sports facility and that it works and there's opportunity. We've had the basketball club engaged, and they're utilizing the facility quite a bit. So we are seeing quite an uptick in different groups and usage from people who were struggling for perhaps gym space within the school. So we've provided more opportunity for those organizations as well.
Wonderful. Sounding like multi-use, multi-age, multi-sport.
Yeah.
Very diverse.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. There's always room for improvement as we go through this because we've not done this before.
We have to find our lane.
So we got to find our legs, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that as we go through this, we will find what's working and where do we need to adjust and pivot to, and that's just part of the learning opportunities that we're undergoing right now.
Wonderful. And then for our ICE users, any feedback about being at the Ovintiv and Memorial in comparison? Is it working?
Through your worship, Councillor McDonald, yeah, I would say the feedback we received from the user group, the actual association, they're very pleased with the space. They are getting additional, I'm not going to say additional, they're getting more ice time by having the senior Canucks and the Kodiaks split the facility, so one in one and one in the other. That's created more ice time. We have also created more opportunities to skate for the minor hockey and for figure skating. So we haven't received any necessary negative feedback from the ice users per se. I think we've just really heard the chit chatter on social media and through the parents, whether the inconvenience or the perceived inconvenience or the adoption of the challenge of change that they're experiencing.
Interesting you point out about the Kodiaks and the Canucks being separated into two different buildings. I would have never considered that, and the fact that it did create more ice time.
Yeah, it creates not only more ice time, it also creates additional dressing room space as well for crunch time. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Councillor McDonald. Thanks, Ryan. Just to add too on that scheduling, I was just, if you look at the sports flooring scheduling and in the Memorial, I was just looking at it over the weekend. It's pretty interesting to see, but I did notice one thing that I wanted to comment too on, Ryan, to your team, is that being a non-instructional day today and tomorrow, that the schedule has been adjusted for that. So there is like a public skating offering during the day. And I've seen it in other facilities too. So I just thought it was pretty neat to see that you're proactive to that and looking ahead at the school schedule and accommodating that. So yeah, just good job with that.
Thank you, Worship. I think the thing that we've taken a look at, I'm not saying it wasn't done before, but we've really looked at the non-instructional days. So the pool is open literally from 6:30 in the morning to 9 tonight, straight through. We're not taking that break from, I think it's 1 to 3. So we've adapted based on what is happening throughout the community to ensure we're offering those opportunities for the community to take advantage of when school's not happening.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Apollonio.
Thank you, Your Worship. I said it to Kevin already about one comment that I received is about the netting regarding the futsal, which balls are flying around, so for safety issues. So I think it's being addressed. So just putting out there.
Thanks, Councillor Apollonio. Councillor Parslow.
Yes, I just hope that the city, in its publicity, brochures, whatever you take, has some good photographs of the new multi-sport area, because I know it's something that would attract me and other Europeans to the community, for sure. And again, I've done it once, but do it a second time. I'm just delighted with the way staff's been handling all these things. It's exemplary. And final comment, it's interesting, isn't it, that meetings expand to the time we seem to have. So we've never had such a long administrative update. And I hope you're not feeling too offended, because your other staff have been asked questions under your heading, Kevin. But that's always good when staff can answer questions for you.
Absolutely.
No, it's good. All good stuff.
Thanks, Councillor Parslow. Any other questions? No? Thanks, Kevin, and your team. Next order of business, diary 13, nothing in the diary. 14, consent calendar. Anybody want to lift anything from the consent calendar? Councillor Earl.
Just, I guess, a comment, Your Worship. I think part of the conversation we just had with staff has to do with the committee of the whole, or quarterly report documents that would have once been in committee of the whole are now in the consent calendar. So I'm not sure if procedurally what we just did was appropriate in opening up the floor to have those conversations, or we should be pulling them out of the consent. No, Tabs giving me the either way look is fine. So, all right, I just wanted to make that note, and that might account for why we had a more broad, sweeping conversation than we might normally. Thank you.
Well, it certainly sneaked in, didn't it?
Through your worship, procedurally, if council would like in the future for a specific report to be lifted, it would be nice if staff could have a heads up perhaps on the Friday, and then they would be prepared to speak to the report. But if none are lifted, I just happened to bring it forward as Ryan was discussing so that you could see that the statistics that he brought up on the Kin sports floor were actually in the staff update. But if there's something that council would like to see in one of those reports, staff would be happy to prepare for that and lift it at the time of the consent calendar.
As well, it'll help them to have their team here ready if there's one they want to speak to. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any other comments on the consent calendar? A motion to accept the consent calendar. Councillor Sudnick. Second, Councillor Kemp. I'll call that to vote. One more to vote, please.
Go ahead.
Vote is closed. It's carried. Next order of business, 15 media question, no media. 16 recess to close meeting. 16.1 resolution to move into meeting of council closed to the public. Agenda item 4.1, section 91J, information that is prohibited or information that if were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, and section 91K, negotiations and related discussions respecting the proposed provision of a municipal service at their preliminary stages, and that in the view of council could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they're held in public. Agenda item 5.1, section 92B, the consideration of information received and held in confidence relating to negotiations between the municipality and a provincial government. Councillor Sudnick, second. Councillor Apollonio, call that to vote. Vote is closed. It's carried.